Well, hi there. It's February 7th, 2024. I'm Jian Gomeshi. Salam dostan aziz. Durud bar shoma. Hope you're doing well. Wherever you are tuning in from around the world, welcome to episode 309 of Roqe. And welcome to Roqe live in Aurora, Ontario, Canada. We're gathered here to give you all a Persian show, even if we're somewhere rural in Ontario. A room of immigrants who are entirely Irani, but call all the Canadian people who live here Khariji. Vay, 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 vay. You can sing this part with me. Vay, 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 vay. We wanted to do something that was fresh and new, a show full of excitement and less ghamgin too. So consider this your perfect little Mahmoudi, where you all end up complaining because you're Irani. Vay, 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 vay. Nice. He's even doing a harmony. Vay, 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 vay. Line up the BMWs in the parking lot. Prepare the tarof just the way that we were taught. We told you qabel nadore, the tickets are for free. But then we actually charged you because we're Irani. Bye, 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 bye. I did my best to look so good for this big event. Boşar in چی پوشیدی؟ Bye, 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 bye. I'm sorry about that. I don't even have to go to the joke. You guys are already like, ah. I did my best to look good for this big event, to present myself for you like I'm a proper gent. I cleaned my saduricht, as you can see. I shaved 2 hours ago, but I'm Irani. Bye, 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 bye. You know that we've got a problem with unity. There's not very much upon which we can all agree. We fight about Mazyar and Reza Pahlavi, but we know they'd all be better than that bastard Khomeini. Bye, 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 bye. Bye, 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 bye. We hope you all enjoy this very special. We hope you enjoy this special night and always swoon. Like a feast of Khubide and Khorishte Badem June. You have to do the rhyme. It's a rhyme Badem June or something. We've got Shiva, Reza, Benafshe, Babak, and Mazyar Fallahi. And far too much cologne and perfume because we're Irani. Everybody! Bye, 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 bye. One last time, come on, sing it out. Bye, 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 bye. All right, it's really good to have you here. This is Roqe, episode 309. Let's get started. Roqe, live in Aurora, Ontario, Canada. Well, hi there. Wow. Theatre Aurora, hello. It's a great vibe here. And for those of you listening anywhere around the world, we hope we can transmit this energy to you over the next 90 minutes. Where are my first two guests? Why are they not on stage already? Come on. This is our first Roqe live show in a theater ever. And I've got two familiar folks for those who listen to our weekly podcast.
Sorry.
That's all right.
I didn't get the cue.
It's our first Roqe live show in a theater ever. I got two familiar folks. For those who listen to our weekly podcast, you'll know these guys. She is a regular Roqe Roundup specialist and a producer for us at Roqe, and the former president of the Iranian Students Association at York University, my alma mater, Pegah Ganji. Smart Pegah. And he was one of the pioneers of Roqe and a longtime director of the show and a familiar voice to many of you. He's an actor, he's a producer, he's a film director, he's the pride of Shiraz.
Woo!
He's the pride of Shiraz. Please welcome Captain Reza Sholeh.
Sorry.
Reza, it's great to see you wearing your shades.
Thanks, buddy.
Yeah.
The first one, for the listeners at home, I'm wearing two shades. The first one was for my eyes, and the second one just attached to my head, as you know, Jian.
Yes, yeah. I think the first time, it's a reference to the first time I ever met you, Reza, which was at a Persian event, and you had your headphones on your head. Yes, just like that.
That is right.
Also serving no purpose, like the same ones you have tonight. This is, I'm not even sure if this many Iranians have gathered in one place this far north. Like, I'm afraid somebody's going to call the authorities.
It's too far north of Steeles right now, I think.
I'm waiting for my interjection here, but you guys are just going at it. Hello, everyone. I'm sorry. I didn't even get to say hello.
Sorry, Pegah. Yeah. Well, you weren't here. You guys were supposed to be sitting.
Oh, no, I've been sitting here for like 3 minutes, and we're just having this banter back and forth.
At the top of the show, I was looking for you. Anyways, well, it's great to have you both here, and we have such an amazing lineup tonight for this show. We're live here in Aurora, Ontario, Canada. Shiva Negar is here, Banafshe Tahirian, Mazyar Fallahi. Actually, let me explain. Shiva, who is she's a remarkable talent, great actor. I think a successful model as well, and someone we've known for a long time.
That's right.
And I'll say this to her when she's on stage too. But somebody who really to me is her story is so inspirational. Like, she is the person who owns that story of never giving up and really pursuing her passion, even if it's not what the Persian kid is supposed to do,
even if it's
and
not
then
doctor.
Proving everybody wrong who said don't do it, or it's too hard to make it in Hollywood, and ending up in major films and doing great.
Fantastic, of course, yeah, and give it up for Shiva. And if I may also add very quickly, actually, in fact, Jian, I think the first time you and I met, and which was kind of, you were telling me about this thing you're trying to do.
It was right before we started Roqe.
Yeah, that's right. And I was like, what is it called, Rock? And you were like, no, man, do you speak Farsi? And I was like, yeah, brah, I don't speak English. And but I remember then we were talking about like the industry and how it's changed over the years, because I started like acting and making movies and stuff like that in early 2000s, right? And it's changed so much because I stopped doing acting for a long time because I couldn't get the roles that I thought I was aspiring to, and I shift to more production and being more hands-on and involved and taking destiny in my own hands. Whereas it's so funny. I remember
we're almost out of time, by the way, for the whole show.
That's right. You see, that's what he does to me, like all the time.
Go ahead.
But I wrap it up.
Will the story end at some point? Yes.
I know. The story ends where our story begins, because then we started talking about people we know in the industry, in Canadian like film or television industry, and then I was like, actually, a friend of mine was one of the few who made it out of here, and she's in LA doing big films and stuff. Shiva, I was doing pose for you.
So you
and then Jian was like, Shiva, I know Shiva.
Yeah. So that was awesome, and it could have been done in one sentence. Thank you. But we appreciate the story. You were placing things. So Shiva, so Shiva will be coming up. Banafshe Tahirian is another one of our guests, and Banafshe has done a remarkable thing, which she's modernized. I mean, Iranian poetry is already, considered great, but sometimes difficult to untangle, and certainly difficult to modernize. She's done it and done it successfully with a podcast, and now she's starting to do that as a live show. I'm talking as if she's not sitting in the front row in front of us. Banafshe Tahirian is going to be joining us here. This guy, I'm so excited about. He's one of the big stars of Persian music. He's a singer whose pop songs are beloved around the world, but also honestly has a reputation as the nicest guy. And every time I've met him, hung out with him, he's really the nicest man in the world. Mazyar Fallahi is here. It's such an honor to have him here. And finally, and last but certainly not least, the Ostad, the virtuoso, one of the prides of the Greater Toronto Area, Iranian community, but obviously globally known as a composer, as an arranger, as a producer, but as a friggin' incredible guitarist. Babak Amini will be performing here tonight as well. So we're very excited about that, and I kind of wanted to. I sort of poked a moment of fun at it in the opening little song there, but it's so interesting to be doing this in Aurora for so many different reasons. First of all, I was thinking Iranians probably like Aurora because it's the one name they can say without an Iranian. Like they kind of say Aurora. It's not like Escarborough.
Yeah.
Richmond Hill, Thornhill.
There's
like
no
Aurora
vowel.
just sounds like Aurora, But it is huge to be doing this show here in this theater. I mean, first of all, Roqe, 4 years ago, people were saying to us, you guys, I mean, how are you going to stay alive? You're never going to make a penny doing Roqe. And 4 years later, we haven't made a penny, but
They were right.
but we've stayed alive. We've made enough to pay for what we're doing and to keep it going and to be able to do this in all seriousness now, as somebody who grew up for most of my life after England in the Greater Toronto Area. To do this in Aurora is so interesting because it really is a microcosm, a fine example of the changing face of Toronto, the changing face of Canada, the changing face of the world, the cross-pollination of the world, and particularly the very particular migration patterns of Iranians from Iran and Tehran and to Toronto, and then to the north of Toronto, and then to a place like Aurora, which used to be, not that long ago, very, very white.
Yeah.
And by white, we mean not Iranian. Some of you I know like to think that, well, of
course.
Yeah. I mean, you agree with this. It's such an interesting place because you also pretty much grew up here. You didn't grow up, you were born in Iran, you were there for a few years, but you grew up here. So how do you process the changing face of Aurora?
Actually, the first time I heard about Aurora was from someone who was Persian. I had no idea that there was even a place called Aurora. And in fact, I didn't know about it until just a few years ago, really, because up until then, the Persians hadn't moved up this north. And so, what does a little Iranian-Canadian girl know if there's no other Persians here? There was no Persian stores. There was nothing up here. The only time I think I had ever come up here was to get my driver's license. That was the only reason I had ever come to Aurora. And I think at that point I was like 16. So prior to that, no clue. And of course, that was only a few years ago. So,
well,
but yeah, I didn't know.
You've opened a Pandora's box. With
I know I have. I purposely did this.
Did you really?
I did really.
Okay, I'm going to tell you my Aurora story. I'll try and keep it brief. And by which I mean at least 1/5 of the length of what Reza just was going on about.
Quality over quantity.
Yes. Man, this place, it's also personally great to be here in Aurora and a sold-out theater because this was I had pretty horrible experiences in this town. Pegah's right. Especially if you were, I was growing up in Thornhill as a teenager, and the only place to get your driver's license, like the most accessible place, was Aurora. And back in the day, if you go back before the diverse Aurora, So now we're talking 80s and 90s Aurora. It wasn't as diverse. And I came up here and failed my driver's license twice in Aurora. And the first time, really scarred me for life because I came up here, I was 16. My mom's in the audience, and I'm going to tell this story, and it involves my mom.
She doesn't know?
I don't know if she knows that. She might have heard me telling it now in retrospect. For years, I didn't tell her the story.
Uh-oh.
Well, sorry, you're in for a treat.
So first of all, I was like, I thought I was cool. I was like this little alternative, punky new wave, whatever, 16-year-old. I was extremely skinny, and I've said this many times, but my nose, which is quite large now, it was this size since I was about 7. So I grew into the nose. So by 16, it was still really big, and my body was really small. People would kind of see it, and like there's pictures where I'm not in it, but my nose is. It's like,
Oh my.
anyway, I had, I was like this cool, I thought, kid, and I wore eyeliner and had spiky hair and tight black pants and pointy little boots, which I came to Aurora with for my driver's license. And, I remember I had an orange shirt, like my new wave shirt, rolled up, and eyeliner. And first of all, I got in the car, and the guy, some older man, this, just looked like an older Canadian hockey-loving, beer-drinking guy,
Yeah, conservative, doesn't like anybody with
I'm not saying that, but with me, I got in the car, like, he looked at me, and his first reaction was, oh. Like, he just kind of, well, we were off to a bad start. And my mom, and we had, around the age of, like, 12 or 15 or something like that, my name is Jian, Jian. It was so problematic when I was a kid because there wasn't a Persian community, and people would see this funny name, and like teachers would be sweating when they got to my name. They were just like, "Oh, what species is this?" And so for a while we thought, "Oh, let's change the spelling of the name, to Jean, which is Canada being a bilingual country, that would be easier somehow," which was a disaster because for the most part, if there was a small percentage of people who would say Jean, which just sounded wrong, but most people would just look at it and say Jean. So I went from Jian, GM, whatever is that, to Jean. And so I get in the car, and the guy, the driver instructor guy is, "Oh, Jean," and for some reason I felt the need to try and correct him. "Actually, sir, it's Jean," and he cut me off. He said, "Start the car," and so we were off to a bad start. So,
bro, you were pronouncing people before pronoun was a thing, like.
No, I was trying to get him to say my name correctly. Anyway, so I go and do the driving test, and I thought I had done pretty well, and
This is the first time, right?
the first time.
Okay.
Yeah, of many times
We
failing.
haven't gotten to the second yet.
No,
Okay,
no,
got
we're
it.
not going to get to the second one.
You
The
see,
first,
shorter
he's
than
pulling a
mine or
Reza.
what?
the first one's always the worst. So I got there, and we finish, and the guy, I look over, "Sir," and the guy's just shaking his head, right? And I was like, did something? And I'll always remember this because it was such a strange thing to say. He goes, "Jean, you could have hit a dog," right? Which was very strange. Like, he didn't say a child or a person.
Right.
You could have hit a dog. And I was like, "Actually, it's Jian," and you could have. So I was like, So it turns out when I was parallel parking, I checked the mirror, but I didn't look behind me. Anyway, so I failed.
You still remember why you failed? Wow.
I'm telling you, this experience was so scarred. So Aurora, Canada. So back then, I don't know what it's like now, but back then, if you fail, they give you a piece of paper that's a particular color. Like, it's like
so everyone knows you
orange
failed.
color. Yeah. The other ones are like, what?
Shame.
So you go back and line up and you have to line up to make another appointment.
Right.
And there's the lineup of the kids who've got the white piece of paper that they've graduated, and I'm pointy boots, like what Jean with my orange
Neon
colored
orange.
thing, so it was clear that I failed.
Right.
Yeah. So that was people snickering, like looking at me and stuff. So I go out on the street. I don't want everybody to. I'm not. I don't want. It's like I'm over this, but I go out on the street and I'm waiting for my mom to come and pick me up, having failed with the orange piece of paper in my hand and my pointy boots and my eyeliner. And these three bigger kids who are like 18,
This part of it is sad, guys. Trust me.
they spot me from across the street and they're wearing like Zeppelin and shirts. And at the time, rockers and new wave punk kids were like, against each other.
You've lost me here.
So, they came across the street and beat me up.
No, I meant the band.
Yeah.
Didn't I tell you?
It's a long time ago. We're playing a sold out show at Aurora. But at the time, it was so horrible. Like because I had just failed, and Jian, and you could have hit a dog, and so I'm on the ground. It's on Yonge Street in Aurora. I'm on the ground, and they're kicking me, and so they walk away, and I'm like, just like. Beaten up, we're still with my orange piece of paper.
You're still holding it.
The failure, yeah.
Oh, my.
And my mom comes, and my mom gets out of the car, and she like holds up the keys. Like, did you pass? You want to drive? And I was like, and showed her the orange slip, and so I get in the passenger seat,
Right.
and we drive down Yonge Street, and I've just been beaten up, right?
Right.
And so I'm kind of whimpering, like I'm like looking out the window so my mom won't see, but I'm like, it's just kind of. And my mom has never, before or after that, never yelled at me. The one time was driving down Yonge Street, she pulled over the car, she got fed up. She pulled over the car and she said, "Enough! So you failed your driver's license." And she had no idea that I'd been beaten up,
Wow.
That's the end of the story.
So sad.
Aurora. But thank you. So coming up here and seeing Manocher's nail salon or whatever, Bahar's discotheque or what, it's like, what is going on? Aurora.
That's the weirdest thing is seeing all these Iranian stores or shops or whatever else in Aurora. I mean, it's one thing to see it in North York. I think everyone's more used to that, but to see it up here, especially after that tragic story, is definitely interesting.
Now, Reza, how do you seriously? How do you feel about the change in community?
Just
you
the
witnessed
sheer
it too.
fact that we are saying, well, if we see it in North York, it's like one thing. It wasn't even in the conversation when you moved here, right. Or even when Shiva moved here, when even early 2000s when Baba Kamini moved here.
And you?
Yes.
You're
Baba and I moved here together.
Yeah.
No, I'm joking. I don't know Baba Kamini personally, but yeah, early 2000s, things are progressively changing. For better, obviously, it's better for the Iranian diaspora and the Iranian community, not only in Canada, but anywhere around the world, to grow and find prosperity and assimilation in other cultures and fit in. Yes. But on the other hand, you look at where are these amazing talents like Mazyar Fallahi coming from? Iran. Where did I come from? Not that I'm an amazing talent. I'm like one of the bottom of the... But the reasons that people migrate in a nutshell and are growing here collectively, I think, is rooted in something a little sadder, meditating.
Most people in the last 40 years have not left Iran wittingly.
Yeah.
On one level or another, there was a reason to leave that wasn't. Okay, let me do a little quick ID here. We're coming to you on roqemedia.com. It is there that you can link to all of our platforms, Spotify, SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, Instagram, CastBox. If you like to see some visuals with Roqe, switch over to YouTube. And if you like your Roqe descriptions and bulletins in English and in Persian, check us out on Telegram. You can support us by becoming a Roqe member on our Patreon page, which you can link to from our website, roqemedia.com, and press the Support Us button. In the coming days on Roqe Navon will join us. He's got the singer-songwriter, he's got a new record. We're excited to have him in the studio. Hamid Rahmanian, the American multidisciplinary artist who has his new spectacular show, Song of the North. He'll be in the Roqe studio, and we can announce that in March, joining us in the Roqe studio for a special feature episode interview, the producer, the songwriter, the musician, the founder of Black Cats, Shapal Shapare, will be joining us. And yes, the whiz kid. I mean, the guy who has been more involved in Persian pop music over the last 5 decades. And Shapal will be in Toronto for the Bidmeshk Nowruz Gala. This is an event I attended last year. It's one of the finest Nowruz events around. Saturday, March 16th, they're doing Bidmeshk Noters Gala this year at the Universal Event Space. And the live musical guests are Black Cats. So that's exciting. And let me just tell you while I'm doing this about two great sponsors for tonight's event here. First of all, Montdwell Group. Montdwell Group, remember that name. Montdwell Group. Montdwell is a construction management firm implementing the latest design and construction technologies in AEC, which is Architecture, Engineering, Construction, and IPD, Integrated Project Delivery Environments, focusing on sustainability and future environmental requirements. Montdwell Group does A to Z services, including architectural, engineering, mechanical designs, such that all the designs are integrated, and as such, clashes are eliminated, making their projects faster, more cost-effective, more efficient than other companies. The products are in a wide range from single-family to multi-units, mid-rise and high-rises. If you're looking for an all-encompassing construction management firm that focuses on sustainability and the environment as well, check out Montdwell Group. And York National Realty. Now, York National Realty is a boutique real estate company based right here in Aurora, Ontario, Canada, that really provides top-tier service with its team. They're a full-service realty firm that are there for everyone from first-time home buyers to investors looking for new opportunities in the communities they serve. Farid and Marion is the main man behind York National Realty, and Farid and his great team have also made it their mission, and this is important because we don't often see this, as we've learned in the Iranian community, their mission to give back to the Iranian community in the diaspora, supported a number of Persian community events and projects, sometimes thanklessly, and Farid was one of the first, and New York National Realty were one of the first, you remember, 4 years ago, one of our first sponsors at Roqe. If you're looking for real estate, this boutique firm is where you should go. Thank you to Farid and Marion and York National Realty. All right, so we normally, in this part of the show, I want to maintain, even though we're doing this live in front of a theater, maintain some semblance of what we do, which is, at this part of the show, we talk about the current events, ideas, issues, things that are happening both in the Iranian diaspora and inside Iran. And so I wanted to just do one of those while we're here, because this is it's certainly not the most pressing concern when it comes to Iran, nor should it be, but it's an interesting one. Amidst the ongoing U.S.-Iran concerns, an American porn actor,
Yes.
Whitney Wright, which, by the way, I've never heard of this. I mean, Reza, you probably know her, but I've never heard.
I've seen her work.
I'm not.
Reza probably know her.
I'm not familiar with her. No, really. I mean, I think I know. I've heard of some porn actors, but this one, she visited Iran, and this has sparked a controversy. She's a staunch supporter of the Palestinian cause, but she's facing accusations of propagating Iran government propaganda because what is this?
It's crazy.
This woman doing in
What is
Iran
she doing
with
there?
the
Why did she go
complicity
there?
of the regime? Hey, let me just finish the question. But with the complicity of the regime and seemingly, posting tourism videos.
Right.
So, Pegah, let me start with you, and then we'll get to you, Reza. What do you make of this?
Well,
I don't know quite what to make of it.
Sure. Well, who would I be if I didn't have some stats for you, right?
Please,
So,
yeah.
actually, she's not the first the first porn star to visit Iran. Surprise, surprise.
It's a destination for a lot of porn stars.
It seems so, actually.
Okay.
In 2016, there was a UK porn star by the name of Candy Charms who actually did numerous interviews after visiting Iran, and she mentioned, and she was actually quoted saying this, and she spent a lot of time talking about this, actually, saying that in the industry, it's not such a surprise for a lot of professionals to travel to Iran because Iran has some of the best surgery available for some of these individuals. Okay. And so Candy Charms had traveled there in 2016 for a nose job, and she was very vocal about it. She, mentioned that it was the nose job capital of the world, she mentioned, which many of us know.
Yeah. Peste and nose jobs.
Exactly. And so, this really isn't a surprise. I mean,
All right.
in the case of Miss Wright, however, it's a little bit different because her trip really sparked some controversy because of the statements that she made and some of the photos that she posted. She posted photos in front of what used to be the U.S. Embassy with very iconically the American flag kind of brought down to the floor, which is a sign of disrespect. And she went on to say, and she was quoted, in fact, saying that Iran's great, and if you just follow the laws, It's wonderful. And this at a time where Iranian
The
women...
laws are have sex on camera.
Right.
I mean, just to point out the obvious paradox.
Right.
We've just been through
Well, that's
an
exactly
uprising
what I was
based
gonna say,
on the
yeah.
very idea that women don't have dominion over their own bodies in Iran, in
Mm-hmm.
terms of what they're told to wear, etc. And this person is seemingly not just with the acquiescence, but not just with the quiescence, but the acquiescence
That's
of
right.
the Iranian regime in the country, right?
Yes. Now, on Monday, the foreign minister spokesperson for Iran, I didn't even know that was a thing, that they had their own spokesperson, but he came out when he was questioned about it and he said, no, I had no idea that this individual was actually traveling to Iran. And in fact, the way that these visas are processed, we don't necessarily know who they are, which is sad in and of itself if you really don't know who's coming and going within your country. But I think the main thing is,
And by the way, they know who everybody is.
Absolutely,
We
they
know
know.
that's why half of us can't travel to Iran.
Of
Yeah,
course,
so-
of course. But I think the main controversy, aside from the fact that, well, she's a porn star and traveled to a country like Iran in the last year and a half, we've seen what we've seen, not to mention the last 45 years, is the fact that after returning, she's actually singled out a lot of individuals in the diaspora, including Mazyar Fallahi, saying that, individuals like Masih are in the wrong. And so there's been a lot of information that
Why all the bad publicity for the
Right,
Islamic Republic of
exactly.
Iran? Yeah.
Exactly. And so a lot of Iranians, rightfully so, are very upset. And there's been campaigns online. And
So Reza, I'm
so on.
curious, what's your take on this? What do you?
I think you and a lot of other people are curious to this because I know her work. No, I'm joking. I don't know these people at all. And I think what happens is that this very fair lady who's got this actress, let's say, and that's probably the best celebrity they're gonna get for their promotion in Iran. So, but this is what they do. They use what they can, and women sexualize them for their purpose. So if they can move their agenda, they think, and we're talking about it, and they can create enough fake propaganda, propaganda that there is so-called freedom in Iran, it's good enough for them as long as a couple of white people in Aurora, all respect to white people in Aurora, can buy it. Because I don't think anybody is gonna, like in this audience or around the world, any Iranian throughout the world in the diaspora is gonna buy that.
I'm just so curious about the mechanics of it. How does the regime find Whitney Wright and get her tickets to the Kababi?
Yeah.
I think the fact that they let it go and they allowed it to happen is a happy accident for them.
Right.
Like she went there for a nose job. I mean,
Well, we don't know she went for a nose job. It's alleged
a
that
lot
a
of
lot of
No,
individuals.
I think she was traveling in the. I mean, I feel like I know far too much about this woman. She's traveling. She was traveling as a tour. Went to like. Some other crazy places. Like she was in Syria or
who
something.
was the food person? Not
No,
the food
she didn't go
person,
there. That
the
was
cooklet
photoshopped.
person.
That image was photoshopped. But yes, she did go to Syria and Egypt prior to going to Iran. So those were actually just vacations, if you will, for her.
Right, as one does.
As one does.
After the shoot.
That's right.
Let's go to
But
let's go to Syria.
But what's most likely is that she's traveled to Iran for surgery and just doesn't
I
want
heard
to mention
Gaza is
it.
lovely during these times.
All right. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
As ever, it's Captain Reza. Captain Reza. What a pleasure it is to have you on the show, on the live version of Pegah. You're always, you're my dependable fountain of information for the Roqe Roundup. Great to have you both here. Ladies and gentlemen, Smart Pegah Ganji, Captain Reza Sholeh. This is Roqe, episode 309, live at the Theatre Aurora in Aurora, Canada. Let's get to our first guest. She's a dear friend and an inspirational story. An Iranian-Canadian actress, model, human rights campaigner who was born in Iran, grew up in Canada after a harrowing stint in Turkey. She's now a prolific performer in television and film based in Los Angeles. Her career began in her early years as a child performer, and with determination and focus, she paved her way into prominent roles in the acting industry of North America. Some of her significant credits today include the action thriller American Assassin, a starring role in the feature film Becoming Burlesque, and a regular presence on the network series SEAL Team and The Cleaning Lady. In the past year, she's been seen in The Threat Next Door and Burned by Love. She's also been using her significant online presence to increase awareness about the ongoing uprising in Iran. She has attended demonstrations, spoken at rallies, worn her politics on her clothing at award shows. She co-hosted that high-profile event called A Call for Freedom that was held in Stockholm, Sweden last year. Right now, please welcome to the Roqe live stage, Shiva Negar. Hello.
Wow. That was an amazing introduction. Wow.
One which you are worthy of. I'm so happy to have you here.
Thank you. I am. First of all, congratulations on your first live show.
Up the street from where you used to live as well, right?
Right.
I mean, you're a Greater Toronto area girl.
Yeah. The furthest I had gone, though, it's Richmond Hill. Richmond Hill. This is, I think, which is quite north for people who don't know, but I think the furthest I went was like Major Mac or Elgin Mills, which is pretty north. So it was way past that. So as I was driving, I think my radio kind of started going staticky. You know, it was starting to lose signal, and then it started going a little dark. You know, the lights were off, and then I was just waiting for like a ghost to appear in front of the road. But no, we're here. No,
Listen
it's
to
great.
the LA girl making fun of Canada. Come on.
No.
You know,
no,
we were saying it before, but I want to say it with you here. You really are an inspirational story for me because we've known each other for quite a while.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know, like 20 years or like something like that, which is weird because
wasn't born yet,
your
but
Wikipedia says you're 25, so I'm not sure how
and
we've
it
known
changes every day.
But no, really, I remember you wanted to, you were determined that you were going to go into acting, and it was something you were passionate about. And it's a tough go for anyone, even when they do have support, but you didn't have a lot of people around you. You had a lot of people who loved you, but not necessarily who were cheering you on, going, this is a great idea. Go for pilot season year after year to LA. And you just kept going, and you kept, I saw you slowly integrate yourself into that, the acting community, and then into Hollywood, and then to be working out every day and going to acting lessons and doing all the things that are necessary. And so I really think, I mean, you're somebody who, it's a cliche to say somebody who, they believed in their dream and they kept going, but you really are a great example of someone who could teach others the importance of believing in your dream. Mm-hmm. Tell me about how you do that.
Yeah, I had to completely change my surroundings, but I was really lost. I mean, throughout all these years that you saw me, and I think the very first time you saw me, I was trying to figure out how to do it because I didn't have guidance, like you said. And there was literally no one around me, from friends, family, no one around me that knew anything about this field. And actually, my Persian wasn't even that good because I left when I was 7 years old, and then we were in Turkey and then Canada. And the very first TV thing that I ever did was that a friend came to me and said, we want to host this thing called TV Toronto. And it wasn't acting. I wanted to tell stories. I always wanted to tell meaningful stories, especially international stories, but also stuff from my background. But this was sort of hosting a TV show, and then they casted me and another girlfriend of mine, Shadi, as the hosts. We were just the wrong people to cast because we barely spoke Persian, and they really were adamant about having every single word in Persian. So, and they wanted us to interview people, and then I think that's when we met.
Yeah. It was a Nowruz event or
I
something.
had no idea what I was
You were running
doing.
around with a microphone, and you were...
Exactly.
Yeah.
I was running around like a lost dog with the microphone, and they're like, "Oh, interview this person, interview this person, interview this person. Make sure it's all in Farsi, no words." And I'm like, "You got the wrong person for this. I can't do." But yeah, they tried to do this thing for Satellite TV Toronto, and then I think they did like one season in the summer, and then I think they had to, say goodbye, and I had to. But that was not really acting.
Right.
That was just my very
But
first.
in that time, and I know I think your wonderful mom is here tonight,
Yes.
right? Who she's and a lot of folks in the community know her and love her as well. I mean, I know it's not telling tales out of school to say that she didn't always think this was a good idea. Even your closest support system was kind of going, Shiva, June, like so tell me about that part. Like tell me about the digging deep to go, no, because I mean, this is frankly, most Iranians, people in my family who are very successful now as engineers, et cetera, or, even architects, had to kind of let go of other kind of, actually not, the architect was the dream he gave up to become a business person, had to let go of their dreams because that was what the family kind of said, this is the thing to do,
Yeah.
And so, especially for young Persians, it's an inspiration to go, no, stick it out, and maybe you can make it happen. How did you do that?
Especially when I started out, there were no other Persians. At least in Toronto, there were no other Persians that were doing this. The pressure was that I wanted to study fine arts. It's the same program that Rachel McAdams actually studied at York University. That's what I wanted to do, but it wasn't familiar with my family. So even though I feel like they were trying so hard and my mom was trying so hard to be supportive, but she didn't know how to be supportive. So it was sort of like, oh, you can, just get your degree. You can do that on the side, that could be a side hobby. And I'm like, no, that's actually going to be a main thing. So I changed to psychology, because I was like, that's a more broad subject that I can, apply to many things. But it was always, I don't know how to describe it. It was this fuel. Like it was always in the back of my mind that I have to do this. And I had to work full time while I was in school full time. So I went to all these workshops, all these acting workshops. I saved up my money and I went to New York Film Academy for acting, which was one of the degrees after I graduated from York with psychology. And then I even did a backup plan just because I had no idea. I had no safety net, especially when it comes to this industry. And they weren't taking in any ethnics at the time. I feel like we've come a long way now, but back then, there were no Middle Eastern stories being told. Once in a blue moon, maybe, if they wanted to do a Middle Eastern.
We only talk about 15 years ago or something, right? Or 20 years ago. I mean, it's not,
I think
not that long.
No, I want to say 2010, 11 is when I sort of started. Yeah. If there was one Middle Eastern story being told, if I was going in the audition room, it was me, and then the rest of the girls would be mostly Indian. There were barely any Persians. Right now, that's changed. There are a lot more in the industry now, but I mean, we still got a long way to
that's
go.
ironic because more Middle Eastern stories or Persian stories are probably being told, but now you have more competition, right?
I do, yes.
Which is a good thing. Which is a good
yes.
thing. It's not necessarily bad, is it?
No, it's I don't know. Is it? I don't know. I'll tell you, it's funny because I never wanted to limit myself to telling stories just from my background. And to me, even though I was getting, especially at the beginning, all these casting directors were bringing me in for the terrorist's wife, the Middle Eastern this.
I love that.
The
The men have to play the terrorist.
The typecast.
The woman plays the terrorist's wife. It doesn't get any better.
Exactly. The Middle Eastern this, and I was like, I want to keep pushing the threshold so much where I can play the girl next door. And this last film I just shot, I did a Lifetime movie called Burned by Love, which I just shot last year, and it came out last year. And it was a Lifetime movie. And to me, that might not be a big deal to maybe an American or a white Canadian playing, because it was like, oh, it's just a Lifetime movie. But I always wanted to turn on Lifetime and be able to see a Persian girl playing the lead actress. Like, you don't see. So I feel like, we're moving towards that direction, especially in Canada. The diversity is really pushing through. We still got a long way to go, but to me, that was like a dream come true, where it's like, I'm not just playing Middle Eastern roles. I can also play the city girl next door,
There's a new, the reality series Survivor?
Yeah,
Survivor, right?
yeah.
There's a new edition of Survivor coming up with a Persian girl in it. Yeah.
Wow.
So we're gonna be like team whoever this person is. Yeah. That's hard to do.
Yeah, that's great.
And I think she might even be Canadian. I think she's a Persian Canadian. But I was going to ask you about how you feel about, well, I guess you've been talking about how things have changed and even what your mom has seen in terms of this theme we were talking about, if one of our underlying sort of conversations has been, what is our identity if we are people of Iranian background who are no longer in Iran, and no longer even the idea of what Iran is sometimes varies from person to person. Who are we? How have you seen that change in your time when you were running around with the microphone to now?
Actually, things have changed a lot more for me since the Women Life Freedom movement, to be honest. Because I wasn't, my Persian has also significantly improved since then. I wasn't as involved in the Persian community. Well, when you met me.
But see, that's funny that you say that your Persian wasn't good, because most of your friends were Persian. You were a super Persian girl.
All like born or raised here.
Ah, I see.
Yeah. But yes, there were my Richmond Hill friends, were a lot of them Persian. They were all raised in Toronto.
Right.
They're the ones actually who, I loved dearly, but I had nothing in common with,
Right.
because they couldn't understand what I was trying to do. And when I actually hit a glass ceiling in Toronto is when I was like, I need to get out of this. Actually, that's the answer to your previous question. I had to sort of get out of this bubble that I was in order to be able to keep growing and evolving in our industry. But
you said the uprising has made a big difference for you.
Yeah.
When you were last on the show, you talked about the importance of unity and empathy. You were actually very powerful. It was one of those moments where the Women Life Freedom uprising that had been so inspirational felt like it was falling apart or dividing, and you were kind of passionately saying, why is everyone yelling at each other? What about unity? Where are you at with that? Have you seen progress in our community of late in terms of that?
I don't know what happened to me. Something shifted, and I couldn't control it, to be honest. It's like I felt like I was, everyone is busy doing their thing, kind of like when COVID happened and everyone sort of took a step back, like, whoa, wait a minute, And then when this Woman Life Freedom happened, it was this like fire of emotion just bursted out of me, and I felt so attached and connected to. It's like I could feel the young people in Iran protesting, and it was really hitting me really hard. I guess it was really close to home, and I didn't realize until this whole thing with Master Jian happened how much I actually have in me. The culture, being Iranian, being from there, and being born there, and how I always say this, could have been one of those girls in the streets. So I felt, a lot of people were asking me why all of a sudden, a lot of us sort of turned overnight activists. I wasn't trying to, and I'm definitely not an activist, but I couldn't help it, and everyone's like, why are you being so vocal about this? I'm like, I can't help it. I'm one of them. I could have been one of them. I'm an Iranian girl who was also born there, and I could have easily been, so of course I will always be vocal about it, and I will always use my voice as much as I can. It
was a good way of eluding the question about whether we could achieve unity. It's an impossible one to answer, probably. But I go through moments of either believing this is going to happen, or the Iranian community is forever consigned to not being able.
I'm optimistic.
You are.
always, yes.
Can I ask you can say no. Can I ask a question about your famous boyfriend?
My famous boyfriend.
Yeah. I mean, up to because I know because there was some threats and stuff recently.
Yes.
So there's a news angle to it that I think is important to talk about to a certain extent, because this is what people face when they are just doing their job. So I mean, whatever you want to say in terms of, but I felt really, really upset about that. It's not a surprise, of course, but Shiva's partner is working at Iran International, and you tell us what from your perspective, what that's been like.
So when this, obviously I'm very much involved and know about everything because of him, but when this first happened, when the Iran International, when they had to leave the London branch, I actually made a video about it on my page, and that was around the same time. It was like the peak of this whole woman life freedom movement. Of course, I had a feeling that if they are targeting this network, there is very few journalists who are really getting a lot of views. And I knew, of course, my partner is one of them. But I never really had imagined how specific targeting there is, until just recently when this news came out, and they also interviewed him as well. And
it's not a secret. I mean, it was in the news. It's Fardod.
Fardod, yes. And they, so I saw all the plan, everything, the interviews, the conversation that went on. So I heard it all. Of course, he showed it to me, and I'm still scared. Yeah, I mean, it's when you sort of think, oh, there might be a risk, there might be danger, there might be, but when you actually see the evidence that they were literally, so that, and that's very close to home for me. It's like, wow, they were literally.
Does it change things? Do you have to not go out or something, or I mean, has it changed your life together?
You have to be more cautious. Yeah, you don't want to. Yes, I've had to think twice about posting things online. Even before this happened, just for myself, like for even my industry, my manager would always say, don't tag a location if you're there right at that moment. And now I definitely don't. I don't want to post something that I'm already. So definitely, I watch out all the time. And now I kind of have to watch my back, and it's very uncomfortable, to be honest. But that's the price you pay for being vocal about it. I mean, I'm sure if I'm being scared, I can only imagine, someone like Mazyar Fallahi or the full-time activists go through. So
thank you for speaking out. Thank you for being so regularly someone who is so honest and open about who she is. I really don't say it in a trite way. I find you such an inspiration, and it's been such a pleasure. I know you came from LA. It's so great to have you part of Roqe Live. Thank you. Shiva Negar, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, this is Roqe, episode 309, live at the Theatre Aurora in Aurora, Ontario, Canada. I'm so excited about our next guest and honored to have him here. For enthusiasts of Persian pop music, the voice of today's guest is a familiar and cherished one. He stands as one of the most prolific, well-known, respected musicians both inside and outside of Iran. He's a singer, he's a songwriter, he's a composer, guitarist, piano player, and he's primarily recognized for his soulful love songs. He was born and raised in Tehran, and his public recognition soared when he sang and composed the film score for the 2006 movie Majnoon Layli. Subsequently, he contributed to various TV series and movies, including notable works like Wishbone and Qalb-e Yahi. About 3 years ago, he left Iran and made Ukraine his home, only to be displaced due to the unfortunate circumstances of war there. He relocated to Germany, and if we're lucky, he will hopefully be considering Canada as his new home. Please give a big Roqe Live welcome to Mazyar Fallahi. What a pleasure it is to have you here.
Thank you very
Merci.
much. Thank you.
Thank you.
So first of all, I must say hello to everyone. I'm very new here, about 2 months. So I must speak for everything. I must apologize because of my English. I learned all my English in school many years ago in high school. So
I think your English is better than Reza's. So
I think it's better to have in Farsi sometimes in English.
however, Hachi Rahatare, you can switch back and forth. But I mean, I think his English is pretty good, don't you think? That sounds. So I mean, this is one of these things where people, especially who are eloquent in one language, like you are in Persian, feel shy about speaking English. But I'm so glad when you do speak English, because there's a whole audience out there who gets to know you as well that may not know you in English. So, you just said you've been here for 2 months. So, is it true that you may be? I mean, can you announce this, that you may be moving or relocating to Canada?
Yeah. This is the final destination, I think.
Oh, right.
Really, because of the people here, they're living here, Iranian people especially, they're very nice. They're very.
Who have you been meeting? I don't know. where have you been?
Great audience, you and my friends. Everyone is really, they're lovely.
Oh, that's so interesting. Like, so I mean, you've been into a lot of places around the world, and you feel like this community, this Iranian community here is.
Yes, I love them.
Yeah, wow.
Really, I think, Iran, in Tehran, everything is okay here. If the super khorak, if the jigaraki, hayat, everything is okay. So I think in Tehran.
I imagine you get recognized here all the time, right? You have a very distinct look, so people see you at Super Khorak, they know who you are, right? More than in Ukraine or something.
Yes, in Ukraine there's only, I think, about near 5,000 Iranian people that are living in Ukraine. So I started to learning Ukrainian language. It's very hard. So I started with Здравствуйте, and the accent is like this, very. And so I started to go for example, buying Camel cigarette, not for myself, but for my wife. And so I said, "Ya khachu etak sini Camel." Možna, пожалуйста. I started after that everything.
And they thought you wanted to buy a camel. A Ukrainian
Sini
camel.
camel is a blue camel. Sini is blue in Russian, in Ukraine. So after that, I moved to Germany and started hello, and again everything is changed to for the guten appetit. And so
How do you order the Camel cigarettes in Germany?
In English only. They know
Right.
English.
It's a series of places that you go to looking for Camel cigarettes for your wife.
No. I was speaking English there.
But the irony or the paradox is that when you come here, you kind of don't need to speak English because you're surrounded.
Everything is Farsi.
You're just hanging out on Yonge Street talking to Persians.
I found one of my friends here, and I called him. He told me, "Sutunam, chetori." Jigareto. It was okay. So everybody speaks Farsi. We don't need to speak English.
Now, there are some people, in all seriousness, who come here who are famous like yourself, and actually maybe they don't like it as much because they're always being recognized. They don't have anonymity, but sounds like you like it. You don't.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
I was in the United States. Really, here is better than that.
It's better than the United States.
Yes,
I
for
see.
me.
The people who are listening in the U.S. right now will love hearing that. That's and tell me why you prefer this to the U.S. Why do you like it compared to America?
I think here I met بذار فارسی بگم آقا اینجا داداش نه اینجا بچه ها خیلی جوونن خیلی بروزن و برای منی که کار موسیقی انجام میدم و دوست دارم با آدمایی که جوونن کار بکنم
کجا پیر هستن؟
آمریکا
آمریکا همشون
خیلی یعنی ساعت تو 40 سال پیش یخ زد اینجا انرژی هست
You charmer.
I was with dear Bijan Mortazavi, Ustad. We had 4 concerts there, and in the first or second concert, I was working in VIP and.
People were dying because they're
Yeah.
so old.
Yes, an old man like this. And so, I said, okay, you can sit down. You can sit down. You can sit down. Okay. I was singing ever.
But that's nice. The older folks like you as well.
it
Yeah,
was
you don't
nice.
want just
It was
to
good. I was
jab
afraid
them.
they were going to die. so,
It's an art. عزیزم کجا میری؟ قبل از اینکه مردم میخوام به I want to go see Mazyar. Well, this is wow, I mean, this is a new twist on your nice guy image. You're like the Leo DiCaprio. Everybody has to be younger than 40 to come. I wanted to say, you know, it was interesting. I hope you don't mind me saying this because I kind of want you to explain it. We hung out, we got a chance to see each other last week, and we were talking about you coming on and what are we going to do, what are we going to talk about. And we have an idea that we're going to do in a moment. But one of the things you said, Mazyar, and I think it's important to talk about it, you said, you know, let's not talk about depressing stuff. Don't ask me questions that'll make me cry and get.
Yes.
And you famously, you know, you famously, but you can be emotional and you feel things very powerfully.
Sultan Gerye, we say.
I mean, the last interview we did, you
Yeah.
cried a few times, and you said, you know, we're in front of an audience. I want to talk about positive things. I want to be positive, but it sounded like that's a bit of a life philosophy too for you. You feel like, as Iranians, almost as a survival, we need to not always be talking about ghamgin things. Can you reflect on that?
You know, in these days, I think there is a very big depression on the people in Iran and out of Iran. All community are, I think we are very sad, but we need to be happy, strong. More so, yesterday with Reza Asadi, my friend here, I don't know, where's Reza Asadi? Oh, yes. We were recording a new video here in Toronto, and it's very, very happy music, and with it's very positive because I like to let me tell you in Farsi. دوست دارم که مردم من رو هم آدم شادی ببینن به خاطر اینکه من از درون آدم شادی هستم. ممکنه موزیکم اینجوری باشه ولی شعرم اینجوری باشه یا ته دلم اینجوری باشه ولی منم دوست دارم بخندم بزنم
Literally.
برقصم. شما هم می‌دونم که دوست داریم. یه چیزی بگم before that in backstage I told you this is you told us about the clothes.
Yeah, you look amazing.
Everyone,
And you said you're Gina Pare.
it's very nice style. I didn't say it's bad or good or bad. It's very good. In Iran we say shalwar fuqara. And when it's وقتی پاره but
I don't know
it's
what
very
that
nice
means.
style.
I don't know what that means.
By chance and fortunately, I have a very nice friend. He's here. He's a great stylist, handsome, and he's.
You can sell me some pants that don't have holes.
Yeah, sure. And he's my stylist here.
Oh.
All the clothes here.
Wow.
His name is Mo Arjman from Rumi brand. He's very handsome. Can we have a little more light? Will you just stand up here?
Okay, he is. Yes.
Rumi brand.
Yeah, and he's young because you don't want to be around the older folks. He's a good young.
So all the clothes is from Rumi brand.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's
So,
wonderful.
Mr. Mo, thank you.
But it does, you know, on the
Mo Arjman.
wanting to be happy and the happy song, the video you're doing and everything. I mean, you alluded to it yourself. You are known for these beautiful, emotive, sad songs. Even telling people Mazyar Fallahi is coming. Oh, the guy who writes those beautiful sad songs. Yeah. So, I mean, you're gonna want to be happy, but in your shows, you're gonna have to still do
Yes,
the.
I will do in this show. At the end of the show, همتون گریه میندازم. Don't worry about it. I will do it.
All right, before we get
Because
there,
in Karma.
میدونین چیه? You know what I have this?
Yes, I know.
We have this with this bet with this idea, and Mazyar said he likes doing improv. He likes writing songs on the spot. Do we have a guitar? Yeah. Can we bring that guitar up? He likes writing songs on the spot. I said, well, how about when we do this live in Aurora, I'm going to give you, we're not going to talk about this beforehand. I'm going to give you some ideas and maybe even ask the crowd for an idea or two. And then you're going to write a song on the spot. And you agreed?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So, I'm going to give you a song idea. I'm going to, and then I'm going to ask the audience for.
میاره پایین. من دارم.
For those listening at home, can you explain, Mazyar, what you're just saying?
اینا هی میذاره پایین. There's a video. Someone is tapping on food in Iran, and میکروفون گرفته بود اینجا. اونم هی میزد. چیکار دارم میکنم؟
خب. All right. What can we? I was gonna say. How about we do, based on our conversation? You don't like the. I want you to write a song about hoping that people won't die at your show.
In the show, okay.
And before so that's the idea number one.
Okay.
Is hoping people won't die at your show, and I'm going to ask the audience to just scream out. Let's say, where's the location of the show? No, not this one. You're so compliant. Thank you so much. No, as an improvisational idea, pick a place. Maybe a place in America. LA. Oh, maybe not LA. Somewhere else. Las Vegas. Yeah, I have a show in Las Vegas, and the crowd is very old. Any, and when is the show? Nowruz. A Nowruz show in Las Vegas.
Nowruz.
And what's the weather like? Something more interesting than warm. Thank you for the creative ideas. Windy. It's windy. It's a windy.
Windy میشه بادی.
It's a windy show.
آخه بادی رو من کجای شعر رو زدم؟
I like Badi. Badi, Las Vegas.
بادی.
Nowruz. And
Las Vegas.
hoping people don't die in the front
من
row.
فکر کردم you're going to something happen عاشقانه.
No,
and
this is
lovely,
better.
Like rain and trees and.
Badi, Las Vegas. And
کوبیده.
And Kubide?
کوبیده. It's going to be funny.
Okay, add Kubide. Add
Kubide?
Yeah. But it has to be related to people not dying. I like
کوبیده. How we can translate not dying in a concert in Farsi? الهی نمیری. جگر تو. Okay.
beautiful writing.
You can add some new words. میخوام اصلا فارسی بنویسیم دیگه چرا انگلیسی میگم؟ نمیر لعنتی. نمیر لعنتی تو شعرم نمیر.
دورت بگردم.
And we have
helping us.
Vegas is
Vegas
important. Vegas is important. That is
Okay.
Vegas in there.
خب آخه ببین وزن اینا رو هم در نظر بگی. یکی میگه میزون باشی، یکی میگه نمیر لعنتی. من با اینا رو بچینم یه جوری.
خب حالا شما بازی.
Is it going to-
شما شروع کن.
Okay.
I think you got enough there.
Okay. خب من همینجوری که دارم فکر میکنم یه چیزی هم بگم. I love these red lights here and your sexy decoration. I think you love red lights, yeah?
I do.
Yes. And me too.
You're feeling a.
This is the first time I'm feeling that I'm in خارج.
Oh.
هر جا میریم ایرانی. Okay.
I'll take that as a compliment. Mazyar Fallahi is writing things that I can't read. But they're bad.
Can you change kubide to kubid? No.
I kind of,
Kame
every time you
ishq
ask
to
me something like that, I'm going to say
qalbam
no. So don't ask me.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, غم عشق تو قلبم کوبیده. It's another kubide, not this kubide.
Thank you for explaining that. Does this have to do with you being aroused by the red lights? Mazyar Fallahi, he's continuing to prepare. He's actually writing it out, I thought. We have Windy, Noruz, Vegas, Not Dying. Mazyar John, people are starting to die at this show.
Hey, you can continue.
Yeah, yeah. We're witnessing a Mazyar Fallahi composition. There's so many folks in Iranian music who are amazing singers or performers or interpreters. They don't always write. Mazyar, of course, writes his stuff, and we're seeing it in the moment here, which is remarkable.
شعرم میاد.
We'll be serving breakfast in a few minutes. The flight only has...
Okay. Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Take it away, Mazyar Fallahi.
لاس وگاس هم هست. غم عشق تو قلبم کوبیده، نگاهت منو تا کجاها کشیده، الهی نمیری، الهی نمیری، میرم لاس وگاس با غمت سر کنم، یه بادی بیار چشامو بازم تر کنم، الهی نمیری، الهی نمیری، تا نوروز امسال تا عید جهان میخونم کنار جیان، تا نوروز امسال میرم لاس وگاس، الهی نمیری، الهی نمیری، یه بادی بیاد چشمامو تر کنم، برم لاس وگاس با غمت سر کنم، الهی نمیری جیان، تا نوروز امسال تا عید جهان میخونم کنار جیان، الهی بمونی برامون، الهی نمیری.
Mazyar Fallahi! There you go. You've been listening to part one of Roqe Live at Theatre Aurora. We recorded this last night, February 7th, 2024, in Aurora, Ontario, Canada. Stay tuned for part two. We're going to post soon. This is full time for this edition of Roqe 309. Thank you so much to the amazing team who put this show together. Super Parisa, Smart Pegah, Savvy Rohan, Bearded Omid, Talented Anahita, Methodical Kaba. And thank you to all of you out there for supporting us and sharing our content. Do subscribe if you haven't done so already. Find me on Instagram at Jian Gomeshi. Thanks to the folks in Aurora at Theatre Aurora and all the people who came out to our Roqe live show. We'll give you part 2 coming up in just a little bit. Stick around for that. In the meantime, Mizun Bashin.